about that. Um, wait, when I get the giggles. Anyway, hello and welcome to Cheers. That's one woman's opinion. I'm your host, Carolyn Mills. Before we start, I wanted to read something I wrote on my Facebook page, and because today is Autism Awareness Day, because well, I'm wearing blue. Today is Autism Awareness Day. I have autism spectrum disorder. In some ways, it is bad. I have meltdowns all the time, but it is also good. My brain is wired differently. I think differently, and I've never had writer's block. Um, I'm a published writer. I have 6 books, self-published on Amazon. Anyway, it is not a curse. It is not negative. It's just who I am. Think Mac computer versus Windows computer. They work differently, but they are both still good. They both still work. They are on different level. There are different levels of autism. I am high functioning. Windows has different levels too. Some function better than others, but enough about Windows 98. No one knows for sure what causes autism. I do not believe it's vaccines. If it were, I graduated with almost 200 kids. We all had to have the same vaccines. If that were the cause, a lot more would also be on the spectrum. And we are not all the same. If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. So I just want to put that out there today for Autism Awareness Day. And also, I want to let you all know that along with putting these on YouTube, I am now starting to use something called Podbean. I'm going to be trying that out for the podcast. So it will be on there. I'm not fully sure how it all works. I'm getting to know that, just like I'm getting to know how to do podcasts in general. And now let's go ahead and get started with Cheers Season 1, Episode 5, Coach's Daughter. This episode was directed by James Burrows. It was written by Glenn Charles, Les Charles, James Burrows, and Ken Eston. The guest cast: Alice Beasley as Lisa Pantuso, Philip Charles Mackenzie as Roy, Tim Cunningham as Chuck, Jacqueline Cassell as woman number 1, Teddy Bergeron as man number 1. Bergeron died in 2022 from an undisclosed cause. John Ratzenberger as Cliff Clavin. In the cold opening, Carla tells Sam one of his women called and said he is a lying piece of garbage and she never wants to see him again. Sam asks if she left the last name. Carla says no, but adds one more thing and spits on Sam's shoes. Sam says, "Oh, that was Patty." I think this will say a name, not a last name. Sorry. Diane overhears it and is amused. Then, when everybody knows your name, starts to play. Cliff and Sam were playing checkers. Diane asks Sam to start doing caricatures. He tells her no, but she ignores him and says, "I'm going to do it anyway." I laugh at this scene because Sam, who is the boss, has the least amount of control in this entire bar. People just come and go as they please. They do what they want when they want. Carla gets a drink order from Coach. She asks him which is which. Coach tells her the gin Collins is in Larry, the vodka Collins is in Steve. Coach explains that he names the glasses so he can tell them apart. He further explains all the glasses are different except for the Wilson brothers. That scene is always so funny to me because, of course, all the glasses look the same. Norm comes in and asks, sorry, Norm comes in and says he messed up at work and now his boss is using his butt as an ashtray. The visual in my mind when I hear that line is literally picture how big George Wendt is, and then I picture like little grooves in his little tushy there. Yeah, I said tushy. Sorry. Um, and I picture like people sticking cigarettes. Really weird visual in my mind, and that also makes me like. Coach announces that his daughter Lisa is coming to introduce her fiance to him. Coach is a little nervous, and Sam tells him that he did a great job with Lisa. I'm wondering, when did Coach's wife die from this line? Because it almost sounds like maybe Coach was raising her by herself, but she doesn't seem young enough in this episode that with the fact that everybody knows her and how long Carla's known Sam and all that, that she would be. But I don't know, like if you're a teenager, early 20s, and maybe he just said after, or maybe he's just saying you did a good job including the wife. I'm not sure. But I was curious about how long Coco's wife's been gone from when Cheers started. Diane brings a caricature. That is a really hard word to say. Caricature to a couple at a table, but the couple can't figure out who was in the drawing, the man or the woman. Norm sees and says it's pretty good. And Diane's like, oh, don't toy with me, Norm. However, he has the wrong person, but Diane acts like it's correct and goes to this lady. She asks the woman if she has a favorite hobby. The woman says horseback riding. So Diane's doodling on the sketch and she's humming, singing, whatever, the tune to whatever that tune is. I think it's on Rainer. William Tell Overture. Anyway, Diane adds to the sketch and then shows the woman. The woman asks why she was riding a giant lizard. So, as we see, Diane doesn't actually have really good art abilities. Despite her 8 million majors, 80 majors to be exact. Lisa comes into the bar and hugs her father. Coach introduces her to Diane. So apparently, Lisa's been in the bar before the series Cheers actually started, because he only has to introduce her to Diane. Apparently, she already knows Sam. Well, she obviously knows Sam because he talks about her, but she must know Carl and the rest of the gang too. She says that her fiance is parking the car. Sam asks how she met him, and she says they work at the same company. She says that Roy is the top salesperson. Roy comes in, and Coach announces that he is Lisa's fiance. Lisa introduces Roy to everyone. Roy smokes a cigar. Diane tells him that the cigar smoke bothers her, and he replies, yeah, it stinks, but it tastes great. So, two thoughts here. One, Roy is such a jerk, which we see throughout the show. And I have to tell you, forgot his name. Sorry. Oh yeah, Philip Charles McKenzie, who plays Roy, he does an amazing job playing a jerk. He's awesome in this role, which is why so many people can't stand the guy. The other thought in my mind is it's interesting to me that Cheers does not have a smoking section. I don't go to bars, so I don't know. Well, New York, I don't even know the rest of the states, but I know New York, you can't smoke in bars anymore, or any public restaurants. But of course, this was back in '82. I don't know. Did bars, bars, whatever, normally have a section for smoking and non-section like they did in restaurants back in the day? Or was there never a section just because drinking and smoking tend to go together? I'm not sure, but I was curious about that. He tells Coach and Sam that baseball is dead and he prefers female full contact karate, which I like with the writers that they chose this and not your typical male chauvinist sport of female mud wrestling. A nice little change. Norm comes in from the back, telling Cliff he smells Chinese food, but then he realizes it's just the cigar he smells. Lisa is the district manager for Roy's office. He sells suits door to door. He explains he is working in Jersey, but he plans to move up to Pennsylvania. Sam asks him if the suit he is wearing is one of the suits he sells, and Roy pitches the suit spiel to Sam. Lisa says they have to go up to Melville because they have a reservation. She invites Coach, but he tells his daughter he will see her later. Later, Chuck tells Sam about his new job as a janitor in a biolab. I like the scene with Chuck, we're about to explain, but it seemed very random in this show. I'm not sure if it was just a breakup from the annoyingness of Roy, but yeah, it was kind of very random. I liked it, but very random. He says the job makes him nervous, and Sam tells me he's being a little paranoid. Chuck agrees and leaves. The people in the bar quickly watch everything that Chuck may have come in contact with, and Sam checks his watch to see how fast they were. And he seems pleased that they did it fast enough. Coach comes down from Melville's and tells the people in the bar, that man is a pig. I just had dinner with a pig. This also confuses me a little bit, and I'm not sure if I missed something, because as I read earlier, he told Lisa that he'll see her later and didn't want to go to dinner. He said that those two could go. And then after telling her he's not going, he's coming back from dinner. Didn't see where he decided to go. Not sure if I missed something there or if it just wasn't there, but it's kind of odd. Diane tells Coach that her dad was never a fan of anyone she brought home. She warns Coach not to judge Roy too quickly. She says she believes that there's good in everyone, and Coach agrees. Roy comes down yelling, "Yo, mother," and says he's not the first person to knock over a dessert cart. He then orders a beer. Coach heads over to Roy, but Sam grabs him. Sam says Coach needs to talk to Lisa, but Diane says he needs to give Roy a chance. Carla asks where Lisa is, and Roy says she's still upstairs settling the bill. An angry Coach goes over to Roy saying, "You had her pay for dinner?" Now, at first, when I rewatched this, forgetting that, it was 30 years ago. Oh, wow. It was over 40 years ago. They just don't seem that long. Anyway, um, when he asked about paying for dinner, I thought, women pay for dinner. I mean, I'm not big on, despite being a woman, I'm not the most woman's lib person, but there are certain things I see, and I don't see why a man has to pay. Women can pay. But back then it was common for men to pay for dinner. So this made sense, but I had to think back 40 years to remember that because it seems like a long time ago when that was common. Coach asked Diane if she still thinks there's something good about Roy. Diane goes over to Roy to try and find out. As they're talking, Roy says to her, "You're not wearing a bra, are you?" He's a sleazy little jerk, actually. Diane tells Coach that Roy is pond scum. This is a fair assessment, I think. She tells Coach to lock her daughter in the closet if he has to keep her from marrying Roy. Roy goes to get some cloth swatches of suits to show Sam. We're door to door. I know there was door to door salespeople, but I don't remember ever seeing any in the 80s. And did they actually sell suits? Is this a Boston thing? Did it happen anywhere? I'm just wondering if this was a thing. I mean, I was only 2 years old in 1982, so just could be. I don't remember what was happening. But in the late years of the 80s, when I was old enough, I don't remember seeing that. So another thought I wondered about. Sam tells Coach about a doubleheader against Cleveland in the summer of '74. Coach says that he remembers it was hot. Coach was filling in as a manager and went to talk to Sam, who was in a jam. Coach told Sam, "Go get him." I like Dan calls it a pithy phrase. Coach doesn't understand why Sam has randomly brought that up. He tells Coach, "Go get him," as Lisa comes down from Melville's. Coach tells Lisa he wants to talk to her in Sam's office, and he tells her that she cannot marry Roy. Lisa says she knows Roy is a terrible man, but Coach asks why she would want to marry him if she knows that. Lisa says she wants to get married, and Roy is the first man to ask her, and she's afraid he will be the last. Coach tells her daughter that she is beautiful, but Lisa thinks that her father is seeing her through daddy eyes, not as she really is. Roy has Norm try to set his suit on fire, but it won't burn. Like Sam says that it's a drawback to the suit. Lisa asks Roy if he thinks she's beautiful. Roy tells her, "Of course you're beautiful. You're stylish, contemporary, and you travel well." Diane points out, "You just said that about your suits." Lisa tells Roy she doesn't want to marry him. She wants someone as great as her father. My thoughts here. One, I think almost every woman wants a man as great as her father. Um, Almost everybody, because obviously not everybody has great fathers. My other thought is I think people need somebody as good as Coach because Coach is such a tender-hearted, sweet, lovable old man. I love Coach. Roy asks about Pennsylvania. Roy threatens to leave and never return. Lisa says that is what she wants. Roy leaves, stopping to give Norm his business card. Norm lights that on fire with a lighter, and then they stick it in, I don't know, water or beer, but they stick it in something. So obviously they put it out. Coach hugs Lisa, and Diane offers to capture this moment in a caricature. Then she realizes she's being a bit tacky. Coach tells Lisa he wants to take her out for ice cream. She says she doesn't want ice cream because she just lost her fiance. Even though he was a jerk, she needs time. Then she asks Rocky Road, and Coach says, "You got it," and asks Sam to leave early. And here again, we see people just come and go as they please. Coach isn't too bad. A couple times he's done it more, not as much as a lot of the other employees have done. But again, but at least he asked. There are people that have actually just come and gone as they please. They show up late. In fact, they've even at times left Norm in charge of the bar. Diane tells Sam that Lisa made the right decision. She says every woman has a right, has a Mr. Right in mind. Sam asks her about her Mr. Right. She tells Sam, and he says that she just described herself perfectly, and he hopes that she'll be happy with herself. So my discussion here. I gave this episode 4.5 out of 4.5 out of 5 beer nuts. This was such a great episode. I can see why Nicholas Colasanto's favorite. The scene between Coach and Lisa in Sam's office is both beautiful and poignant. The MVP for this episode, of course, is Nicholas Colasanto, the coach, for the reasons above. The whole scene, I mean, he wants to make his daughter feel good, and he tries to like Roy, like Diane suggests. He realizes he can't do it. He doesn't just forget about it. He goes with his gut and tells her she can't marry him. I mean, it's everything. And then when I get to my favorite line here, this quote is beautiful. For a long, but I have to do the whole thing. Coach has just told Lisa she is beautiful, and she tells him to look at her not as her father, but like he's seeing her for the first time. Coach says, "Oh my God, I never realized how much you look like your mother." Lisa responds, "I know, I look exactly like her, and Mom was not comfortable about her beauty." Coach says, "But that's what made her beautiful. Your mother grew more and more beautiful every day of her life." Lisa has this realization and says, "She was really beautiful." Coach says, "Yes, and so are you. You're the most beautiful kid in the whole world." Wow, I want to cry. That was very sweet. Runner up, best line. After Lisa has dumped Roy and he asks her about Pennsylvania, she says, "You don't get Pennsylvania, Roy, and you don't get me. You just get more and more obnoxious." I love Lisa. Here's a little known fact. Coach says to Lisa in Italian, "C'è una cosa impossibile." This is Italian for "that is an impossible thing," referring to her marrying Roy. My question for my dear listeners today. They say Roy is obnoxious. Is he the most obnoxious person to ever go to Cheers, or do you think that someone else has some beat when it comes to being obnoxious? Please feel free to share your comments in the chat. Sorry, not the chat, in the comment section on the page or in any of these medias, which I'm about to show. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You can also join the Facebook group. Cheers, that's one woman's opinion. You can find us on Instagram at Cheers, One Woman's Opinion Podcast. And you can email us also with your comments and thoughts at Cheers, One Woman's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. Next week, we will be looking at episode 6 of season 1, Any Friend of Diane's. There will also be a special episode released on the 6th of April for John Ratzenberger's birthday. We'll be watching a rewatch of the movie Toy Story, in which he played Hammy. And that is One Woman's Opinion.